Ladies and gentlemen, when the fire rains from the sky and the world stands still, what do you stand on? Because right now, the Middle East is trembling. 65 missiles, dozens of drones. One moment, the moment the missiles were fired, the drones launched, and the skies lit up over the Middle East, it wasn't just Israel's defense systems being tested. It was the world's spiritual posture that was revealed. Because crisis is the great revealer. It doesn't politely ask what you believe, it demands it. It tears the mask off casual belief and shows whether your faith was rooted in truth or propped up by convenience. You see, when everything is peaceful, it's easy to speak about trust, hope, and God's control. But when the missiles come, whether literal or metaphorical, when you hear the sound of chaos on your doorstep, that's when the real condition of your heart steps forward. Some trust in governments, some trust in armies, others in news cycles, influences, or wealth. But when those things start to tremble, when uncertainty becomes the headline, when fear becomes the atmosphere, what's left? The real you, the one that no platform can filter, the one that either bows in panic or rises in praise. That's why a crisis isn't just a test of your environment. It's a test of your alignment. What have you been standing on all this time? The opinions of people, the stability of nations, or the unshakable promises of God. In moments like these, when the world is in shock and people don't know what to think, you have to decide, am I shaped by what's happening around me or by what's alive within me? Faith is not a theory in moments like this, it's a weapon. And if your soul has not been trained in it, you'll crumble, just like the headlines that fade tomorrow. That's why this crisis, this chaos, this breaking news, it's more than just a military escalation. It's a spiritual mirror. It's showing each of us who we are, and more importantly, who we trust. When storms hit, houses built on sand collapse, but those built on rock remain. That's not poetry, it's reality. And right now, the storm is here. It's not on the horizon anymore. It's overhead. And your reaction will reveal everything. You'll either be driven by fear or drawn deeper into faith. You'll either search for man-made answers or turn your eyes to the God who's never been surprised by a single missile. What you do next isn't just about news, it's about eternity. Because crisis always reveals where you stand. In a world that seems to be unraveling at the seams, with missiles flying, nations clashing, and fear gripping the hearts of millions, it's easy to think everything is spinning out of control. But just because the world is surprised doesn't mean God is. The chaos you see on your screen is not a disruption of His plan. It may very well be a part of it. When leaders are scrambling and the media is flooding every platform with panic, God isn't pacing the floors of heaven trying to come up with a response. He doesn't operate in reaction. He operates in sovereignty. His rule is not based on opinion polls, military strategies, or shifting alliances. Heaven doesn't need a backup plan because God's first plan has never failed. People often wonder why God allows certain things to happen, why evil seems to rise, and why prayers sometimes feel unanswered in moments like this. But what we fail to see is that God's timeline isn't built for convenience. It's built for eternity. We judge moments by what we can see. God judges them by what He is shaping. And while we may not understand every detail, we can trust His design. The God who calms storms still has power over the ones we see today. The same God who split seas can split addendas. And the same God who shut the mouths of lions can shut down systems built on destruction. You may be seeing missiles, but He sees movements. You may be seeing drones, but He sees destiny. Nothing catches Him off guard. What feels like collapse to man often sets the stage for God's greatest revelations. We serve a God who specializes in bringing light out of darkness, clarity out of confusion, and strength out of sorrow. He is not limited by governments, He is not intimidated by weapons, and He is not overwhelmed by headlines. His throne is not up for re-election. His power cannot be vetoed, and His promises are not subject to earthly borders. He's not unlimited by God's own promises. His promise is anticipatory, and His promises are not subject to earthly borders. 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 God's control doesn't mean absence of conflict. It means presence in the middle of it. Just because He's silent doesn't mean He's distant. Just because He allows doesn't mean He abandons. He's moving pieces we can't see, shifting hearts we don't know, and setting up victories that have yet to be realized. His hand is on the wheel even when the road feels like it's falling apart. And while the nations rage and kingdoms collide, God still reigns. He is still holy. He is still good. He is still present. He is still in control. What just happened is not just a headline. It's a divine alarm clock ringing loudly across the nations. When 65 missiles and dozens of drones are launched, when sirens cry out in the night, when the world pauses in terror, it's not just a geopolitical event. It's a message to every soul that's been asleep. For too long, people have scrolled past suffering, silenced conviction, and numbed themselves with distraction. We've treated spiritual urgency like an optional setting. But heaven never sleeps. And right now, God is using the shaking of the nations to stir awake the hearts of men and women who've been drifting. This is a wake-up call for the prayerless, for the passive, for those who've been lulled into comfort while the world burns. It's for the person who once believed with passion, but now only whispers prayers out of routine. It's for the one who knows truth but chooses silence in the name of convenience. It's for the soul that thought there would always be more time, always be another moment to get serious about God. The shaking isn't just happening on foreign soil. It's happening in the spirit realm. And it's meant to shake you out of sleep. You don't need another warning when the sky itself becomes one. When missiles fly and systems fall, it's not the moment to debate. It's the moment to decide. Will you continue to sleep through the sirens, or will you rise into purpose? Every war, every conflict, every eruption in the natural is a mirror of the war taking place in the spiritual. There is no neutrality in this season. Indifference is no longer safe, because every moment you wait, the battle gets closer and your soul gets colder. This isn't fear-mongering. This is urgency. This is what it feels like when heaven shouts, "Wake up! God is not interested in casual believers or half-hearted commitments. He is calling for hearts on fire, minds renewed, and spirits aligned. You've had enough warnings, enough signs, enough chances. The hour is late, the trumpet is sounding, and the shaking is only going to grow. This moment was never just about politics or borders. It was always about hearts, yours included. The sirens are not just for Israel, they're for you. They're not just announcing an attack, they're announcing an awakening. And what you do in this moment determines everything about what happens next in your life, your family, your calling, and your eternity.
In a world often divided between logic and faith, India's journey into space offers a profound reminder that science and spirituality are not opposites. They are parallel forces pushing the boundaries of human understanding. The SPRADEX mission is not just about advanced robotics or orbital precision. It is about something deeper, a philosophy that has guided India for thousands of years. This philosophy sees the universe not as a cold, mechanical structure, but as a living, breathing expression of consciousness where every scientific pursuit is also a spiritual quest. From the Vedic hymns that spoke of the planets and stars to ancient texts contemplating the nature of time and space, India has always viewed the cosmos as sacred. This reverence didn't stop with mythology. It evolved into mathematics, astronomy, and now space missions. SPOT stands as the latest link in a long chain of cosmic curiosity. It embodies the Indian idea that when we reach for the stars, we're not just trying to master space, we're trying to understand our place within it. That effort is not just intellectual, it is spiritual. This mission, like so many others by ISRO, was not carried out in a vacuum of technical expertise alone. It is infused with a sense of purpose, a quiet belief that every breakthrough is a step towards something larger than ourselves. The engineers and scientists who develop SPY-X may be guided by equations and computer models, but they are also carrying forward a heritage that teaches humility in the face of the universe. This balance is uniquely where other nations may pursue space for power or prestige, India pursues it with prayerful precision, with an understanding that the universe is not something to be conquered, but something to be harmonized with. Even the very naming of ISRO missions often reflects this integration of science and soul. SPOT-X, while being a technical abbreviation, echoes the Indian style of grounding high-tech innovation in cultural and philosophical depth. This mission speaks to the harmony of intuition and intellect, where spiritual reverence fuels scientific rigor. It's a worldview that doesn't separate the scientist from the seeker. The same mind that writes code for docking procedures may also pause for a moment of gratitude before a launch, not out of superstition, but out of recognition that human effort alone does not explain everything. India's rise in space is not only a triumph of technology, but of thought, a thought process that sees no contradiction in blending the sacred with the scientific. The SPRADEX mission is more than a technological breakthrough. It is a symbol of hope for the next generation. For every child watching the countdown, for every student reading headlines about India's space achievements, this mission becomes a spark, igniting a belief that greatness is not confined by borders or bank. It tells young Indians that their dreams are not too big, their questions not too bold, and their ambitions not too distant. When they see a country like theirs achieve what only a few global powers have done, something changes inside them. They no longer see space as unreachable or science as reserved for the elite. They begin to understand that their minds, their ideas, and their futures can touch the stars too. In classrooms across rural villages and urban centers, children are being shown that success is no longer a foreign product to be admired from afar. It is a homegrown reality that they can take part in. Spatix isn't just about spacecrafts connecting in orbit. It's about connections being built in the hearts of millions of young minds. The mission tells them that brilliance can rise from the most unexpected places, that a boy from a remote town or a girl from a modest home can one day command satellites and lead missions into deep space. It transforms space exploration from a distant spectacle into a personal possibility. The presence of Indian scientists, engineers, and innovators on the global stage gives children real heroes to look up to. Role models who speak their language, walk their streets, and share their struggle. These heroes aren't fictional characters from science fiction. They are real, and they are Indian. This visibility redefines success and reshapes how young people view their own potential. Spox is not just a story of what ISRO did. It's a story of what is now possible for every Indian child with a dream. It makes ambition relatable and achievement accessible. And in an age where distractions are many and direction is rare, this mission provides a compass. It tells the youth that the path of knowledge, perseverance, and service to one's nation is not only noble, it is powerful. It shows that science can be exciting, meaningful, and transformative. It brings science out of the textbook and into the heart, inspiring young minds to not only study the stars, but to chase them. In the eyes of the next generation, SpotX is not just a docking mission. It is a door opening to the future. India's rise in the global space arena has not been about imitation or replication. It has been about definition. While other nations have raced to dominate, control, and compete, India has chosen a distinctly different path. A superpower identity built on humility, service, and shared progress. The SpotX mission is just one of many illustrations of how India views power not as a display of superiority, but as a responsibility to uplift and inspire. Unlike traditional space superpowers, whose achievements often stem from military ambition or geopolitical leverage, India's journey is powered by curiosity, national pride, and a quiet determination to prove what's possible without shouting it from the rooftops. This difference isn't incidental, it's intentional. It reflects the cultural DNA of a country that has always believed in leading with values rather than velocity. India's superpower identity is deeply rooted in its civilizational ethos. It doesn't seek to colonize space or outshine others for prestige. Instead, its missions, from Chandrayaan to Mangalyaan to Spox, carry with them a sense of purpose that is both national and global. They are meant to contribute to the collective progress of humanity, whether through low-cost satellite launches that help developing countries or climate monitoring that benefits all. This kind of leadership is quiet yet profound. It changes the narrative from "we must win" to "we must grow," from conquest to contribution. That shift is what sets India apart. It's not just about reaching space, it's about redefining the reasons for doing so. In this identity, science is not separate from soul. Space exploration is not a quest for dominance, but a sacred endeavor to understand our universe and our role within it. The power India demonstrates is not one of intimidation, but of inspiration. It shows that a country doesn't have to be the richest or the most militarized to lead. It has to be the most committed, the most consistent, and the most creative. India's strength lies in its ability to find solutions within its constraints, to turn limitations into innovation, and to do it all with a sense of national service. Spidex exemplifies this, an ambitious mission done with efficiency, intelligence, and grace. As the world watches, India isn't concerned with applause or validation. Its focus remains steady, to rise in its own way, on its own terms, with its own voice. And that voice doesn't echo with arrogance, it resonates with purpose. That is India's unique superpower identity. It isn't borrowed, it's built. It's not loud, it's lasting.